Hearing on Arvind Kejriwal's petition has begun in the Supreme Court. These are big breaking developments coming in. The petition and the plea of Arvind Kejriwal is now being heard by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, of course, asking Mr. Kejriwal why he did not file a bail petition. These are, of course, the big developments coming in. Hearing has begun in the Supreme Court over Arvind Kejriwal's plea. Ayush is joining us for more details on this story. Ayush, the hearing has begun in the Supreme Court. What is happening inside?
Well, yes, Uday, the scheduled hearing at the Supreme Court has just begun for Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal's plea. Marks a critical juncture in his legal battle against his arrest in connection with the alleged excise policy scam. Also, Kejriwal's decision to challenge his arrest underscores the gravity of the accusations leveled against him and his determination to defend his reputation and political integrity. As of now, the biggest breaking news which is coming from the Supreme Court in the Arvind Kejriwal's plea is that Supreme Court has asked Arvind Kejriwal's lawyer Abhishek Manu Singhvi that why have you not filed any bail petition? Let us make our viewers clear that the plea of Arvind Kejriwal in the Supreme Court is challenging his arrest, whether it's constitutional or unconstitutional. It's not about Arvind Kejriwal's plea. So now the Supreme Court is asking Arvind Kejriwal's lawyer Abhishek Manu Singhvi that normal criminal case also, when an accused has been apprehended by the police, he or she must be presented in front of the honorable court and the bench, and then the court decides whether to give bail or not. So why this legal procedure is not being followed in this particular matter? Over to you there.
Right. The Supreme Court, of course, posing that question to the lawyers representing Arvind Kejriwal. Have they responded at all? Have they responded to that observation by the apex court yet, Ayush?
Well, as of now, Arvind Kejriwal's lawyer is still speaking in the court, and he's saying that when ED and ECIR have filed the petition against the Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, in the last 18 months, no arrest has been done by the ECIR and the ED. So why now the arrest is being done just before the Lok Sabha elections? Now the Supreme Court is yet to answer on this. Over to you.
Okay. Well, that, of course, is something that continues to be heard by the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, we're also hearing now, Ayush, that Abhishek Manu Singhvi has said, are you arresting someone after model code of conduct? Either you have imminent material or there is material on guilt on some basis which we don't know. So questions being posed now by the lawyer of Arvind Kejriwal as well.
Well, yes, and now to this question, the Supreme Court has replied that whether any charge sheet have been filed against Arvind Kejriwal or not. Now the ED, the federal agency, have to answer this, as the federal agency was earlier being summoned by the Honorable Court that they have to file their charge against Arvind Kejriwal as soon as possible, and they have to justify their reason for arrest, as they have justified in the lower high court also. Now the Supreme Court want to know that particular reason, and regardless of the verdict, the Supreme Court decision will serve as precedent-setting moment, setting standards for the conduct of elected officials and delineating the boundaries of government authority in relation to law enforcement and individual rights. Also, the outcome of this hearing has far-reaching implications not only for Kejriwal personally, but also for broader political landscape in Delhi. For example, Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain are still in Tihar jail. Over to you.
Right, Ayush. Meanwhile, also, in fact, Abhishek Singhvi going on to say a few statements are hearsay. I'm not an accused. Does the Chief Minister have lesser rights? Why is an example being made of him? So further observations coming in from the side of the legal team of Arvind Kejriwal. Ayush.
Well, yes, the Singhvi just stated that if the court goes for approvership, there must be some corroboration in that particular ground. To which Justice Khanna just replied that, let's come on grounds then, quote and unquote, you are not charge sheeted, not yet. And Singhvi said that I am not named in the charge sheet, which clearly means that Arvind Kejriwal lawyer is saying that the charge sheet which was framed by the ED earlier few months ago, now Arvind Kejriwal's name has to be added, and for that the court or the federal agency have to move a revolt petition for that in the Supreme Court. Yes, Uday.
Absolutely. In fact, Abhishek Manu Singhvi going on to say that Raghav, Sarath Reddy, etc. are all hearsay statements. There are electoral bonds. Father, in fact, joined the BJP soon after. This should also be taken into context. So further statements being made by Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Ayush. He has said statements are all hearsay, the ones being attributed to Sarath Reddy and Raghav, etc.
Well, yes, this same example was given by Abhishek Manu Singhvi in the High Court as well, to which the High Court clearly stated that the court is not related to any political party, neither it is ever or was being pressurized by any political party. So don't give any such political examples or do not cite the condition of Lok Sabha elections in front of the court, as the court or the federal agency has nothing to do with the election or with the politics. And this was clearly stated by the High Court as well. So if this same example is being quoted by Arvind Kejriwal's lawyer in Supreme Court, so the federal agency's lawyer ASG S.V. Raju can simply cite a High Court statement or verdict on that particular issue. Yes, Uday.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, even more observations now coming in. Abhishek Singhvi has reported, he said that 16th statement taken from someone behind bars. He gets bail later, turns approver. His statement becomes basis. That statement is in July last year. They arrest me in March. I'm not saying CM has immunity, but does he have lesser rights is what Abhishek Singhvi is arguing. So obviously they are raising questions now on the individual who has now turned approver, on the basis of which the CM is being arrested. Ayush.
Well, yes, Uday, that what Abhishek Manu Singhvi had just said, this was presented earlier in the Rouse Avenue Court, that the statements made by the people of ED, the people being apprehended by ED in same PMLA case. But the thing is that the people who have given their statements against Arvind Kejriwal was 7 to 8 months back. But ED was giving continuous summons to Arvind Kejriwal, to which he was not appearing. And then the ED stated the same example in the Rouse Avenue Court also, that Arvind Kejriwal was not appearing even after multiple summons. That's why it was a complication for ED to arrest Arvind Kejriwal like that way. Yes, Uday.
All right. In fact, we are getting more developments now coming in as well. In another statement, Singhvi has said that in so many statements, I'm not named. Most are Section 50 statements. There are no new statements. I'm very amused. These were shown in Sisodia's case. I've been arrested now. What is new? So obviously posing a very serious question to the honorable judges there, Ayush, asking, in so many statements, I'm not named. In fact, in Section 50 registered statements, he is not named, and they were shown in Sisodia's case, but he now is being arrested. He's questioning why.
I quote and unquote that these statements under Section 50 of the PMLA Act do not name me, and by me he is referring to his client Arvind Kejriwal, and except one, the BSR Reddy, who bought electoral bonds, made 17 statements. He named me in April. So that's what Abhishek Manu Singhvi is saying, that only one person who have named Arvind Kejriwal under Section 50 of the PMLA Act has bought electoral bonds in favor of BJP. This was the same statement which was presented by Abhishek Manu Singhvi in the Supreme Court, to which Supreme Court clearly stated in a very diligent way that Supreme Court has nothing to do with electoral bonds. That is a separate matter. Supreme Court has nothing to do with elections also. So now don't give any such citations which include elections or electoral bonds. Now we have to wait for what Honorable Court will say in this. As I stated that regardless of the verdict, the Supreme Court decision will serve as precedent-setting movement or setting standards for conduct of elected officials and delineating the boundaries of governmental authority in relation to law enforcement and individual rights. As the Supreme Court earlier also stated that no individual, whether he's a CM or he's a common man, can be above law or above court. Over to you there.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.